folks, welcome back to One Dot Daily. I'm Chris. So in today's episode, it's going to be a little cleanup of a One Dot Daily. It's a Case Muskrat 79 1 dot. I'm just going to do a light cleanup on it, and stick around, take a look. All right, so here's today's knife. This is the Case 1979 1 dot. And it is the Muscrat. I got this knife for a really good deal, of course, because it's a obvious user. It's got some peppering on the blades here, so we may try and do a little sanding on that when we do the cleanup. But man, look at that bone. I think that's just cool. That's what I love about some of these 79, just like a few of them just come up with some really neat, really pretty bone on there, called pretty bone for that reason. And then it's got this is some pretty bone too here on the front, but sometimes they have either a dark brown or what I think the book calls black bone, actually. Kind of fades to black, but this one, I like it a little extra because it has, you can see the pin shield there. Now the shield on this guy is kind of half wearing off. I think maybe it was like sanded down and cleaned up once before I had it, but the blades are in good shape. I would say that this blade here is basically completely full, and this blade here is probably at like 85 to 90%. Not that I'm a good judge. But yeah, it needs a little love. It's got some junk down in there, but I think that's going to clean up fairly easy, really nice. Man, it has fantastic snap. And this is my first ever Muscrat. This is the first time that I've ever looked for a Muscrat, and I'm like really pleasantly surprised. For some reason, I don't know, has the name of something ever thrown you off? I know that I love copperheads, and the name Copperhead used to throw me off, and it's kind of the same with the Muscrat for some reason. I don't know why that is. But probably a mental defect of my own. But man, this thing's got great snap, really solid, robust knife. I believe on the 47 pattern, but we'll read a little bit more about that. Double back springs so one for each blade. So a Muscrat knife, as a lot of you guys probably already know, a Muscrat knife is a type of trapper, okay? And like you hunters will know that. I'm not a hunter. I'm a guy who just likes knives, thinks that they're really cool, and likes to put them in my pocket. So anyways, it's in the same section in this in the Levin's book for under trappers. And let's see, we've got a double-ended trapper are similar to premium trappers, only with one blade in each end. A variant of the double-end trapper is the Muscrat. It has two identical Muscrat clip blades, one in each end. And then it shows a picture of a Remington Muscrat down here. There's a Remington Muscrat I kind of want, but the guy wants a bunch of money for it. But I thought it'd be kind of cool. I need to start another part of my collection. I have like 10 different sub collections within, plus I'm trying to get all the 79s, which is just kind of an insane idea in reality now that I've kind of found that price list and realized just exactly how much is on there. But bear with me, because I just kind of dig, for posterity or historical or whatever sake, like to find out the most I can about a pattern and put it on the channel. So you can fast forward through this reading if it bores you to tears. Okay, Muscrat pattern. The Muscrat is a well-known case pocket knife pattern that is made with the 47 Stockman frame or handle die with a closed length of 3 7/8. The standard Case Muskrat has always been constructed with two identical California clip-style blades, each operating on its own backspring. The Muscrat is one of very few pocket knife patterns that never had a pattern number. The knife was always listed in Case price lists simply as Muscrat and goes back to the Case-tested era when Case began stamping pattern numbers on pocket knives consistently during the Case XX era. The Muscrat was made with the word Muskrat stamped on the tang of the rear blade, like so. The basic two-blade knife, as described with bone handles and with chrome vanadium blades, was the only version of the Muscrat made in the Case standard pocket knife line from the Case XX era through the 1980s. The Muscrat in the Case XX stamping will be found in several of the Case XX bone color variations, including green, early Rogers, regular, and red, and in late Rogers, bone, and rough black. I don't know the difference between late Rogers and early Rogers. I would love to get a visual of that difference. I'm sure it's in this book. Anyway, the use of bone on the standard Muscrat continued through the Case XX USA era. During the 1970s, Darlin was substituted for bone on the Muscrat on a random basis. Both Darlin and bone examples will be found. However, the author's observation is that starting in 1978, the Muscrat pattern was switched back to being handled 100% in bone. The basic Muscrat pattern in chrome vanadium with bone handles remained in the Case line as standard pattern into the 1990s. In 1997, it became part of the Chestnut Bone series, but was discontinued in early 2000s. Blade steel and liner material from the XX era through the time that the pattern was discontinued. The standard product Muscrat was only offered with chrome vanadium as the blade steel. The liner material during these years was nickel silver. Beginning circa 1978, Case began changing all pocket knife patterns with nickel silver liners to the standard use of brass as the lining material. This one has brass liners, but there may be a nickel silver lined Muscrat in 79 because it says here the change in the material was complete by 1980. Other variations. The first use of stainless steel blades in the Muscrat pattern was in 1978 when Case made the Stag Muskrat SSP pattern with stag handles and glazed finished stainless steel blades for inclusion in the limited production 1978 Red Scroll Stag sets. A standard production stainless steel Muscrat variation and bone handles, Muscrat SS, was added to the Case pocket knife line in 1991, but was only made for the years of 1991 through 1992. This knife had glazed finished stainless steel blades. Traditionally, the Muscrat pattern was tooled with two back springs with no center liner. This one doesn't have a center liner between the two springs. Since the two blades sit in a parallel position in the closed knife, a center line is not necessary. However, beginning circa 1981, Case added a center brass liner to the Muscrat pattern, and it was made this way for a while. Later, the construction was changed again to delete the center liner. I do not know the exact years that the center liner was used, but by 1986, the change was complete, and the center liner had been deleted from the Muscrat pattern. Hawbaker's Special Muskrat, which this is not a version of that. This version was made as a special factory order or SFO knife for S. Stanley Hawbaker and Sons, a trapping supply company located in Pennsylvania. The so-called Hawbaker Muskrat or Hawbaker's Special will have the normal California clip blade in the front of the knife, but the back blade will be a long sheepfoot blade with a straight cutting edge and a sharp point. The blades will be etched Hawbaker's Special and improved Muskrat knife. There were many variations of the Hawbaker's special pattern made from the Case XX era until 1982. New variations, the Muscrat in recent years has been widely produced both in the Case standard production line and for SFOs, and has been offered in a variety of handle materials with polished stainless steel blades. And just quickly, here's a couple of pictures. We've got a Case XX era, a 78 here, and a 77, and then the Stag version, of which I don't know in 79 if they made the Muscrat in the, I don't think they did make it in the Stag special edition, so that won't be one that I necessarily need to find. Okay, thanks for bearing with me through that reading. I just always find it's fun to pick up a couple little quirky tips about these guys, and like, I didn't know that this was totally considered a trapper. I don't know why. Of course, name Muscrat, two-blade knife, seems like it would be a wonderful candidate to be a trapper knife. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that Muskrats actually, someone will correct me if I'm wrong, but Muskrats might actually have been the first trapper knives, or at least the first folding trapper configuration before. I'm not sure if that's true. I thought I read that somewhere. I could be spreading vicious rumors. Okay, so I am going to do a little cleanup on this knife. So if you're interested in sticking around and seeing how it comes out, stay tuned. Okay, let's get some scraping done. Knife came out pretty darn good. I have a couple of gripes with some of my work. I don't know if you can see there on the bolsters, there are some little tiny nicks in there that I didn't quite get out with the sanding, and it's because I didn't start with a coarse enough grit. But once I was in it, I just kept going. I mean, it still looks fantastic. It's a fingerprint magnet a little bit, but yeah, it looks pretty good. I'm seeing some of my sanding marks there. Yikes. But overall, very, very nice knife. Look at this side, it's just beautiful. I love all the colors going on in there. And, you know, some of these 79s, man, like there's just, I just really like that bone in there, you know, like it's a deep, rich, you know, I love red bone on the older stuff and all the different colors, but I don't know, it's just a classy knife in my opinion. And for the blades, I only got one finished sanding. Just for time's sake, trying to get this video out, but you can barely see the difference really. The one here, the main blade, is the one that I did, and you can see a little bit. It's just slightly rougher on the one that I didn't do, but it's not that big a difference. I'm still not totally happy with my blade sanding ability. I mean, it looks good, but I can still see little pepper spots in there. And I mean, I guess that's just not getting deep enough with the first sanding, but I don't know, man. I don't want to like just take away all the blade steel, because I don't know if you guys have ever seen like a really overly cleaned knife. I've had a couple. I actually got one in not long ago, and I might be sending it back, because what happens is, man, when they really, really get out all those marks and make them mirror finish like new, they sand down the blades to where the blades are super thin. And I don't know, I'd rather have some marks on the blades than paper thin blades that are almost wobbly. But anyways, this thing turned out really, really nice. And yeah, now I can, let's see, I'm gonna put a little bit of this wax on her and get that bone kind of hydrated a little bit. Stuff's always kind of adds a little bit extra to the, I don't know, there's some, you know, like, I guess it's just you put oil or some sort of substance like that on something, and it seeps in there a little bit and gives a little bit of extra luster, I guess. And like I've said 100 times, this stuff smells really nice. So yeah. Okay, now we get to cross it off the list. So let's put this guy aside. Here we go. Where are we? Folding Hunters. All right, Folding Hunter. Muscrat, 20 bucks. What was more expensive? I guess the Trapper was still more expensive than the Muscrat. I love trappers, but I gotta admit, I really am fond. I mean, just like the carryability, you know. I mean, I guess just a little bit smaller knife is what it comes down to. But man, that thing turned out really. That's so pretty, man. Cool. I'm stoked. All right, guys. Thanks for sticking around, and I will talk to you soon.